I love these aperture rings, it's so easy and it's a clicked aperture. Let's check out what you get for your less than $200 these days. Hey, my name is Thomas and today I've got this one for you. It's the TT Artisan 75mm autofocus lens with f2. And yeah, it retails for less than $200 or euros. It's got f2, it's a portrait lens, it comes with autofocus and an aperture ring. So I'm super thrilled to try out this thing and find out what you get for this little money. Let's have a go. So, in your hand, this let's check out what you get for your less than $200 these days. The lens is, the outer barrel is made from metal even. I think inside there will be a lot of plastic parts, which is absolutely standard for autofocus lenses. They're made very different to manual focus. You've got this snap-on lens hood made from plastic, which is perfectly fine. I love plastic lens hoods actually because they tend to, you know, they're a little bit flexible. So if you bump into something, they protect your lens, and a metal lens hood just pushes all the impact into the lens itself. You got this plastic snap-on lens hood, again nothing special, but very practical. It's a 62mm filter thread. You've got a very nice focus ring with a very nice feel actually, and this clicked aperture ring. It has an auto setting. There is no lock or something, but it's got click stops, so it's sort of, you feel that these are third click stops and then there is some distance to this one. But it can happen that you accidentally move it out of auto position. So, but overall the aperture ring really feels very nice. It's of course an autofocus lens, comes with all the contacts, and it's provided with a lens cap that has an USB port on it for future firmware updates. As I often say before, 7 Artisans, TT Artisans, Zirui, all these companies, they don't have a long history yet of making autofocus lenses, so we have to see in the future how they will deal with firmware updates. When Sony makes a new camera and old lenses don't work anymore for some reason, they have to update the firmware. We have to see how they will handle it in the future. The lens is also available for Nikon, I think, Nikon Z mount, which is very nice, and of course not for Canon because they don't allow third-party manufacturers making autofocus lenses for Canon RF, which is sad. Overall, it feels really nice in your hand, and it doesn't feel like a cheap lens at all. It just feels beautiful, and it's also kind of LiQWYD and not very large, so that is also nice. The only real downside is it's not weather sealed, but yeah, you can't ask for that at this price point. Apart from that, really nice. Yeah, the one thing about these lens caps, rear lens caps, is I don't really like it so much because when you're shooting with several lenses, you tend to mix up your caps, and this one is the one with the USB port and the contacts, and it just doesn't handle as quickly as a normal rear lens cap. So there is the question, is it better to put the USB port into the lens itself on the mount, like many manufacturers do, or is it better like this? Personally, I prefer the other approach, but on the other hand, you can just get normal lens caps at a very cheap price and just store that somewhere at home, so it's not a big complaint. So we're shooting the 75mm lens on the A7 Mark IV right now. It's got 33 megapixels. It's not the super highest megapixel count of any camera, but still decent resolution. And I'm gonna do this recoil test, and you will see it's just a very sharp lens. And what you also see, it's got a little bit of a pincushion distortion. I don't know why they didn't correct for it automatically, but it is there, and it is kind of visible in this sort of shots. There is some color fringing at open aperture and high contrast edges, like here in these branches, but it's overall a good performance. I've seen much worse in some other lenses. Remember, you can easily correct these if you're shooting RAW. There's also some bokeh fringing or longitudinal chromatic aberrations, and thus you can't correct easily, but again, it's on par with many other fast lenses. On APS-C, this is shot with the Sony a6700. The lens is also super sharp already at f2, right into the extreme corners. No complaints whatsoever, a fantastic performance. Color fringing is also very low. Not worse at all than with the full-frame A7 Mark IV. Just stopping down to f8 for depth of field, not for optical quality. I love these aperture rings. It's so easy, and it's a clicked aperture ring. It's so easy to have full control about your aperture, and also it doesn't matter if you're, switching modes or something. The aperture doesn't change when you do something here and you don't want it to change. This clicked aperture ring is one of the coolest features of this low budget lens. This lens, of course, it's like a portrait lens. It's a 75. I found it also kind of brilliant that they didn't do another 85 but a 75. And as you know, Leica does a lot of 75mm lenses for their M system. They're just a tiny bit wider than 85. Sometimes I found it very versatile in a way. On APS-C, I love my 50mm lenses, which give 75. So yeah, this I love. On the other hand, this is only f2. That's maybe the one little downside, but you don't pay a lot for this lens. Remember, it's not an f1.2. Still, you see background blur is very nice. There's a lot of bokeh. It's really good portrait lens, so nothing to complain about there as well. This lens is also very nice on an APS-C camera. Then it's a 105mm equivalent on full frame, which is also a nice focal length. And it's small enough and cheap enough to make sense to just purchase for an APS-C camera just as well. So you will see some shots in my video that I took with this A6700 and the 75mm TT Artisan autofocus lens. Autofocus lenses are designed for smooth background blur even when you step down a bit, and that means they're not designed for perfect aperture stars. Don't ask me why that is. The TT Artisan 75 has 9 aperture blades, and that makes for 18 pointed sun stars. You can see it helps to stop down to f11 to make them a bit stronger. Overall, it's not that bad, but all those manual focus lenses are better here. Time for the verdict already, and maybe you already guessed that I'm a real fan of this lens. Yeah, what's not to like? This is less than 200 euros or dollars. If you are shopping and there's something like Black Week on Amazon or something, you find them for like $140, $150, brand new. It's an autofocus lens. It's a very nice portrait lens, has a great open aperture, super sharpness, very good optical qualities overall. There is nothing to complain at this price point. And I'm reviewing a lot of lenses and very, very good lenses, but this one, like price performance, is like one of the best ones I've seen in the last year maybe. So I can just highly recommend this lens. It's made for Sony, for Nikon, and it works perfectly on Sony cameras in terms of autofocus, so that's also very nice, very smooth, yeah. Just highly, highly recommend it. So that's it for today. I hope you found this interesting, maybe even useful. If you did so, then please leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. And if you've got any questions or comments, write something in the comment section below. You know I love to read all your comments and I will happily answer every single one of them. So have a great time, live long and prosper, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.